Hey there, I'm Lee Ullman here with some big news from the National Young Farmers Coalition. We're partnering with Heritage Radio Network on a special season of The Farm Report. It's all about what's happening with the Farm Bill and how it impacts farmers and eaters.
I am growing diversified vegetables on land that's been in our family for 150 years.
And so with the pandemic, gentrification, property values going up, we had to sell the land and we lost it.
Join us as we uncover the untold stories behind this massive piece of legislation that shapes how we grow our food, what we eat, and so much more.
The problems we have had, those are things that come from earlier Farm Bill and USDA policy, right? Like Earl Butts, get big or get out.
You know, it's my responsibility to know not only what I'm eating, but then like how that all came to be. And realize like, wow, like this piece of legislation, all this money, like it's technically something that I support as a taxpayer.
While Congress debates the next Farm Bill, this is not just an invitation to listen. It's a call to action. Be part of the conversation. Subscribe to the Farm Report on Heritage Radio Network, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Today's program has been brought to you by GreatBrewers.com, a social media marketing platform dedicated to promoting the world's great brewers and the beers they create. For more information, visit GreatBrewers.com. You're listening to Heritage Radio Network, broadcasting live from Bushwick, Brooklyn. If you like this program, visit heritageradionetwork.org for thousands more.
Hey, welcome to Beer Sessions Radio on the Heritage Radio Network. It's April 2nd, 2013. I'm Jimmy Carboni from Jimmy's Number 43 and the Good Beer Seal. And I'm here joined tonight with Dave Broderick from Blind Tiger and Ale Sharpton from Atlanta. And we were all down in CBC, the Craft Brewers Conference in D.C. First, let's give a shout-out to our sponsor, GreatBrewers.com. Thanks so much for being our sponsor. Check it out. You want to learn more about beer, education, history, and everything, go to GreatBrewers.com. And thanks to our supporters at the Good Beer Seal, GoodBeerSeal.com, an association of 41 New York City beer bars, small, independently owned, that promote craft beer. All right, here we are in New York City. We were all down in D.C. last week for the Craft Brewers Conference. In the industry, they call it CBC. But I call it the Craft Brewers Conference. It was my first time down there. Dave, you've been down there a few times, haven't you?
Yeah, that was my fifth one.
Wow.
Started in Boston 5 years ago, and I actually didn't do the seminars then. Just went to the parties. And then the next year in Chicago, I did the whole thing.
And Ale, was it your first time at the Craft Brewers Conference?
Lost my virginity, man, in D.C. And no, it was awesome. Great people there, great brewers, and you know the beer industry is just so welcoming and cool. I had a ball, definitely, and I kicked it with the Austin brothers actually from Beer Advocate, and they showed me hella love. It was awesome.
Well, you really had a presence down there. You were hanging out with Garrett Oliver from Brooklyn Brewery.
Yeah, so I did a dope article on him for Beer Connoisseur magazine, and Jet magazine actually. They were the first time like what. We're going to talk about beer. Jet magazine, you know, is a black magazine, but, you know, historical. But I was like, yo, this is that dude. But Garrett Oliver, it's not a color thing. He's just really the man. I really respect what he does. So.
Yeah, I ran into him for 1 second. He had just come back from Hong Kong, he said. Did he tell you what he was doing over there?
He's a bad dude. Probably brewing some craziness.
Yeah, probably.
They're opening a beer bar somewhere in Europe.
Sweden,
yeah.
That's pretty gangster, man.
Yeah.
I mean, jeez.
Yeah, they're tight with Brooklyn Brewery is tight with Carnegie, which is one of the older small breweries over there. I think they're owned by a larger company, but Carnegie Porter, we have that on tap tonight at Jimmy's Number 43 too. So
nice.
Don't forget your local beer bar. So here you are. Let's just talk a little more about DC. It was my first time down there as well, and I checked out some of the bars I liked. I liked Church Key. I liked RFD, which was Regional Food and Drink, which has been around for a while. Meridian Pint.
Right.
Any other places that you guys went to?
Yeah, I did Church Key, and really liked that. I was amazed. Greg, who's the beverage director and partner there, and he, you know, when he changes a line, he like takes the faucet off, takes it apart with a toothbrush, cleans it. It was just crazy stuff. He's really into doing it right, and it showed up. The beer list was amazing. So I love that place. I did 9:30 Club for Sam Calgione's event.
Oh, yeah.
The Feelies were playing, and that was really good. And then Duck Rabbit did an event at a Korean restaurant, which was really good. My wife's Korean, so I was very happy.
You got to
to have some
represent,
Korean food.
man. Get your brownie points.
Exactly.
Smith Commons, they had hosted a lot of stuff every night, particularly with the Beer Geek thing that they were doing with a Beer Advocate. I went to their party, and that's where I hooked up with the Olsen brothers, and oh man, we went hard. It was awesome, though. It was a great time. Allagash was there, showed me some love. A lot of good breweries and stuff, and it was nuts.
So, El, we've heard about you for a while. El Sharpton.
What's up, y'all? ALE.
ALE, and it's Cruising for a Bruising. What's the website?
Cruisingforabruising.com. No G's in there. CRUISIN for a bruising, and that is BREWSIN.
So you're based in Atlanta. How did you get involved in you're like beer media? Let's call you that.
I studied communications at Cornell University, and I didn't think I was going to be a journalist. I was actually wanted to run a hotel or a restaurant type thing with some good ass beer in it. Beer's been a part of my life pretty much since I was 6. But no, it's not a sad story. It was just a sip of a beer my uncle gave me, and they were like excited for me to be like spitting it out and see how gross it was, but I simply took a sip and just said, that's what I'm drinking, I'm older. And they were like, oh shit, give me a beer back. I was sorry to cuss, but no, it was a good time. And since then I always had that on my palate until I was pretty much old enough to get to drink, 17. But Atlanta, when I moved down there from Shaker Heights, Ohio, I was born in Ithaca, left when I was 10 to Shaker Heights, Ohio. But then when I moved to Atlanta, the beer scene wasn't that great. But I always knew it was going to turn around, and now Atlanta is incredible. So shout out to Atlanta. Since we passed the beer law for 6% and over, we were chilling. So now it's nuts. I would think the beer capital of the South, next to Asheville, which is dope too per capita. So
Atlanta. So what are some of the breweries that you like from Atlanta?
ATL. I brought a little special gift for you guys, actually. Yeah, ATL. I'm an ATLian. Sweetwater obviously is kicking a lot of tail. They're right behind Abita, but they're going to pass them pretty soon, honestly. Respect to both breweries. Terrapin is right up the street, Athens. They're doing the Classic City Beer Festival, which is on my website immediately right now for me interviewing Owen Ogletree, who is a beer god down there in Atlanta. They're going to have about 300 plus beers at their festival. The festivals are bananas. And
that's a lot of beer.
Oh, no. And Atlanta has 2 of the top beer bars in the world. I'm not talking just in the city, in the world, with the Brick Store and the Porter, but there's some other amazing ones that are just open up, the Argosy and stuff. I want you all to come down, and I'm like the mayor of Atlanta. I'm telling you right now. I had Boulevard. Boulevard hit me up. They're like out of Kansas City. Ale, can you take us out? And I took them out, and believe me, the brewer was like, okay.
Yeah,
no mas.
I'm dying to go to Brick Store. I met those guys. They were up at Lord Hobo for a beer bar owners conference in January, and great guys. Mm-hmm. Really super knowledgeable.
Mike and Dave. Lee was a beer manager there. It's just, Leon's is awesome. So there's some spots I got you guys hooked up with. Trust me. Yeah.
And I've seen some things from Terrapin. They've done some collaborations with Hebrew and Schmaltz.
Spike, shout out to him and the whole Terrapin squad. Believe me, the South is really open.
So what's the scene like? So when you go out at night down there, do you have to drive around? Do you get taxis? Do you bicycle?
The traffic sucks. If you can get your brewery to take care of your taxi situation, you're chilling. The public transportation is kind of whack. It kind of goes in the plus sign throughout the city. I would rather it be asterisks, but we can't do anything about that right now. We're working on that, but you get a cab or get somebody to drive you around. You need a car in Atlanta or you're pretty much screwed. But there's so many different divisions. There's the East Atlanta area that is incredible. There's the downtown area with all these different brew pubs, and we're really pushing a lot more laws. The growler law just passed, so now a lot of people are opening up growler stations down there, which is nuts. So we're working on a few other things, one thing at a time,
There was one restaurant district down there that I heard about years ago.
What, Buckhead?
Buckhead.
Oh, man.
Is that cool or not?
Well, Buckhead is chills. They got to step their beer game up. We're working on, there's a cool spot called Cook Hall that just kind of opened up in the W, but they really respect their beers. A guy named Avi, and they do a good job down there, man. So shout out to them. I just would love to be a tour guide for you guys when you come down, or anybody listening to this beautiful network and this beautiful setting. Can I comment on it?
Please.
It's majestic. We got some awesome brews. We got some Green Flash Pop. popping. I got a little special treat from Wild Heaven, which you cannot get pretty much anywhere outside of Atlanta.
Yeah,
but first, let's take a step back.
My bad. Yeah.
In
But
DC,
this is a cool spot.
the Craft Brewers Conference.
Okay.
One of the breweries that I really liked was DC Brow.
Okay.
I just drank their simple pale ale local. But Dave, you brought the Craft Brewers Conference collaboration beer.
Right, the Beggars and Thieves. It's a rye lager.
I have a little more of that.
Anti-imperial.
They gave this to us in gift bags when we came in.
Right.
That's class right there. So
yeah, they always brew like what they call a symposium beer. You know, the beer for the conference, and this is the first time it's been in a 22-ounce bottle though. Usually it's smaller.
I didn't have it yet.
Oh, it's good.
Oh, please come on,
Yeah,
dump your.
I poured it for you.
glass.
It's right there.
I'm drinking IPA, but
No, it's right there. You already got it.
That small glass. Yeah.
Excuse me.
So a little toasty. You can
salute,
tell
guys.
we're really drinking. We're toasting.
Beggar-
We got glasses.
Oh, we're getting our sip on. We're sipping. Oh, can I shout out this IPA?
Go for it.
What's the deal with this one now?
Well, that's our friend Jeff O'Neill.
What's
at
up, Jeff?
Peekskill Brewery up in the Hudson Valley.
Right,
Chief.
right.
And it's the Eastern Standard IPA.
And there's some Ithaca ties with him, right?
Yeah, so we're saying he was the brewer at Ithaca for many years, created the Ithaca Flower Power IPA.
Wow.
Which you like the Ithaca
I was born in
ties.
Ithaca.
Yeah.
I was born in Ithaca, went to Cornell, so respect, man. This is beautiful. All the beer gods have just been working around me this whole week, and I met some incredible people, including you guys, man. it's an honor to be on the show.
Well,
Cool.
thanks for picking up our spirits, you know.
yeah.
We're all down in D.C. and everyone's like, we got to come back to work, you know. But, okay, so D.C. beers.
nice.
We did that, and this is awesome. Beggars and Thieves. It's pretty
It's
cool,
low
man.
gravity too. It's
It was DC Brow. It was the Brewer's Art, and there
Which
was
is up
one
in
more.
Baltimore.
And Devil's
Devil's Backbone, which
Devil's
is
Backbone.
pretty hot brewery.
I met them when I went up to Virginia Beer Fest last year.
Yeah.
There's a little story with them. I'm not going to get into that, but overall, no.
You don't want to get into that story.
There was a weird name for one of their beers, and it had a lot of controversy regarding the Belgium stuff and the African connection and everything. And I met with them, and but overall, they make good beer. They're very cool hosts, and overall, man, shout out to Devil's Backbone.
Yeah, Jen
We'll
brought a
get that
couple of
name
their beers
together.
in yesterday to Jen Schwertman. Brought in 2 of their beers, a red ale and something else, Schwartz beer. And they were really very, very solid
Did
beers.
Jen go down to DC too?
Oh, yeah.
Craft Brewers
She always
Conference?
goes.
You know, one thing about this event is that although it's an industry-only event, and some of us
right.
got coveted press passes. I'm sure Elle got one, and Beer Sessions Radio had one. But, if you just happen to go to, like next year it's in Denver, if you go to Denver kind of right before the conference starts and you hit the top beer bars, you're going to get to meet everybody.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
there is a consumer component as well.
You definitely, I think you were really smart to go in on Sunday because I didn't get there till Tuesday night. And by then, it's almost 7,000 people. And how many places are there to go?
Right.
So you do the math, and it's so hard to get in anywhere. So I definitely for Denver, I'm going to go earlier rather than later.
Well, one thing, I'll give a shout out on our site, goodbeerseal.com. We interviewed a couple of distributors, and those are the guys I met first because they were there for the wholesale component. And you forget that's who's moving the beer. And we met guys from Seattle, Alaska, Denver, Syracuse, DC, and Baltimore. But the thing is, it's what I like about going to a place like Denver or Atlanta or DC is meeting the local breweries because the distributor's doing a great job. But they're all the beers that we know. So if I'm meeting a craft beer distributor, he's got Lagunitas, he's got Omegang, and that's kind of like the common currency. You talk about how can you talk and trade, and that's really what's happening. This great, what's a good word for this? Bringing everyone together, right. But it's distributors and brewers and retail shops, and everybody's kind of talking about the same thing. And there's certain brands that lead you in, like Green Flash. We'll talk to Chuck Silva, who's the brewer. He's going to be on our next segment.
Right.
But we're going to taste some of his beers, and that's one of those brands. You're talking about Green Flash. It's probably in Atlanta. It's in New York. It's probably in DC. It's probably in Seattle, and it's like kind of a common currency, of beer. What do you think about that, Dave? Because you've been doing this a long time.
You mean in terms of just how there's certain brands that everybody's sort of like that's what they're familiar with, and
even though it's craft, these brands are like the keys of the trade, in
right.
our industry.
Yeah.
Whether, like I said, Seattle, Alaska,
right? It's like the touchstone brews, that everybody knows and can talk about, and but that's mainly just things that everybody has access to, and the only way that happens is if they get a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Which is obviously that was the big story at Craft Brewers conferences. like another 3.5 million barrels coming online of production. And there's 1,250 breweries in planning now. Last year there was 650, and something like almost 400 got open of those 650.
Right.
So if it's the same percentage, we're going to be over we're 2,400 now. We'll be way over 3,000 by next year's April 11th.
I think most of them are what would fall under like nano breweries and brew pubs.
85% are small.
So that's what I'm trying to say. So on one hand, we've got these larger. They're still small craft breweries, but they're traded across the country. But then when we go to what I really love to is going to these local spots like in D.C. or in Atlanta, seeing local breweries that you don't get somewhere else.
Seeing how they react to something like Green Flash, which you're totally familiar with, and get their take on it. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely certain brands that are in every city that you go to that everybody seems to love and want to get.
So it's great. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with Chuck Silva from Green Flash, and we'll talk more with El Sharpton from Atlanta on Beer Sessions Radio. All right.
You're listening to Home of Emptiness by Pamela Royal on the heritageradionetwork.org.
Hey, welcome back to Beer Sessions Radio on the Heritage Radio Network. We're out here at Roberta's in Bushwick, Brooklyn, and El Sharpton, our special guest from Atlanta, he can't stop talking about this place. What do you think about our little studio in the middle of...
I'm really bugging on it. Like,
this is the best restaurant in Brooklyn.
You would pass it, you wouldn't think there's anything in it, and you go past behind this, like, Wizard of Oz door, and you just go in, you're like, oh my gosh. And the hominess of it, you got the brick oven pizzas popping, you got a fireplace going. This is awesome. This is,
you got a library.
I
right
love
here?
drinking a beer right here.
Just so you know.
Oh,
so
look
Roberta's,
look at that. Wow.
We're in the middle, and Roberta's here, right outside our window, is a 2-star restaurant according to the New York Times. On our roof is a rooftop garden. Behind us is their mini restaurant that's a 3-star restaurant called Blanca.
Which is really hard to get into.
This is pretty cool.
Well, I'm adding them both up and saying this is 5-star. Forget that, man. This place is awesome.
Well, we feel really lucky to be here every week, and in the Heritage Radio Network, it makes it all possible for us. And thanks to our sponsor, Great Brewers.
Shout out to Bree and the engineer, too.
All right. That's Joe Galarraga. All right. So, hey, we've got a special calling guest. We went from a Craft Brewers Conference in Atlanta. Now we're going out to San Diego, California. Chuck Silva, the brewer from Green Flash, is on the line. Chuck, how are you?
I'm good, Jimmy. Thank you.
Hey, man, we're drinking your Friendship beer, the most recent one that's kind of like a black saison. Is that how you would describe it?
Absolutely, yeah. So I figured a black saison would be a unique offering and kind of an obscure style, and so that's what we rolled out.
How did you ever start this Friendship series? I know it's with the St. Fulian Brewery in Belgium. Do you brew it in San Diego or in Belgium?
We started with the Bière de l'Amitié, which translates to Friendship Brew, in spring of 2010 when we visited Belgium, and it actually spawned from a visit from Dominique Friart in San Diego. She actually stopped in our brewery. Her distribution network in San Diego is through Stone Distribution, and she just popped over to pay a visit with the artisanal imports folks. And then during a visit, we were tasting some beers, and somebody suggested, "Hey, you guys should do something together." And of course, Mike Hinckley, our founder, CEO. He was just very excited that somebody would suggest it, and jumped at the opportunity. And Dominique said, "Well, I'll take this back to the board in Belgium and propose it and see if there's any interest." And they got back to us, and sure enough, off to Belgium we went and brewed a batch of beer, and it's been going for 3 years now.
All right. Well, Chuck, we're here with our buddy Dave Broderick from Blind Tiger.
Hey, Chuck.
Hey, Dave.
I saw you at CBC, but you were very far away.
Yeah, I would see you across the room, but there's so many people at the CBC. It's
I know.
Amazing time.
It's nuts.
And our new friend, Al Sharpton, he's a beer media writer guy from Atlanta, Georgia.
Yep.
There you go.
What's up, Chuck? I know we're about to do an interview soon, man. I know that's cool. I'm looking forward to it, but you're a bad dude, man. Your brewing is off the chain. Really, really, really good stuff. You guys just came into Atlanta not too long ago, and people are loving you guys. I'm giving a lot of love to the Pal record. That's my joint, man.
All right.
Good story behind it, too.
Thanks.
Yeah, so what did you think of the Craft Brewers Conference, Chuck?
It was tremendous. A lot of synergy. More people there than ever before. Over 6,000 attendees from not only our nearly 2,500 craft breweries in the United States, but from breweries and interested parties from abroad, actually overseas. And just had so many connections also with a lot of the Virginia brewers as we announced our Virginia Beach second location.
That's news.
I heard about that down there. I was like, wow, Virginia Beach. So what made you choose that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was partly due to, kind of our roots in San Diego, where we want to be in a coastal town, but still have good access to the freeways for trucking, for delivery, across the eastern states. So we have distribution from Florida to Mass and some central as well, Chicago area, and Illinois, and Cleveland, Ohio, and so we want to be centrally located. So mid-Atlantic states made a lot of sense, and Virginia Beach just became a great partner. They changed their laws recently that made them very attractive to allow tasting rooms also to serve pints and tasters, and we probably wouldn't have gone there if they hadn't done that. It was really important for us to have our tasting room, our local on-site connection to our local consumers, and that's such a tremendous thing here at Green Flash in San Diego that there was no way we were going to pass up on that. So once they approved that law, then they became very, very attractive.
So how big is the brewery going to be in Virginia Beach?
It's actually going to be a nice-sized facility, larger than what we have, but very close. We just, as we're growing, we're testing the boundaries of our 44,000 square foot facility here, and so we're pushing out to about 58,000 square feet on a 9-acre lot, 1-acre beer garden. So we're just
hey, Chuck, you know what?
Away.
I'm smiling from ear to ear, man. This is so cool. I want to come and hang out in Virginia with you guys.
I know, man. I've never been to Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
Now I'm going.
We might have to move down there.
It's going to be a fun spot. Just about 10 minutes south of the actual beach, and just on a main road, kind of like here, close to Oceana, which here we're close to Miramar, so the jets are flying overhead. Just actually seems like we're not too far removed from San Diego.
San Diego East.
Wow, Chuck, we're gonna first. I'll tell you a thing I know, a celebrity comment. Dave Matthews, the singer,
wow.
He used to summer in Virginia Beach, and the reason I know is because my good buddy Ian Motter, their parents were all engineers from Europe, so all these crazy, engineer guys. They all summered in Virginia Beach together, so there's some cool connection there. But the other thing is, we're going to rip your beer apart right now. We got some serious guys in there. I got Dave Broderick from Blind Tiger and Ale Sharpton from Atlanta. We're drinking the Green Flash Friendship Ale. So, guys, what do you think about this beer? This is a tough panel, Chuck.
Yeah, we're so hard when the beer's good.
Yeah, right. It makes it a little easier.
No, it's really good. It's got a really nice roasty, for a saison. It's got this really nice roasty flavor, which goes well with this yeast. I don't know if I would have expected that.
Right.
But I kind of like the way the roastiness and the saison yeast go together. And I'm actually kind of curious, what was it like to brew in Belgium?
Well, it was phenomenal. Their brew house was, I don't know, it seems ancient compared to what I've got going on here. And in fact, they've built a new brew house that they're about to commission this year. So they're modernizing as well. In fact, they're going to take their old brew house and basically turn it into a museum piece, and right there on site. So they've just built their new brew house, literally a new building right next to the old one, which butts right up against their already modern cellar. And so they're obviously needing to grow a little bit as well as get a little more state-of-the-art brewing facility. And then the Black Saison, which you're having, it was brewed here. So Alexi actually came to the United States. Alexi Briel is the brewmaster there, and he traveled here, and we brewed the Black Saison here in San Diego.
To bridge on... go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
To bridge on that beer review we're giving you, not that it was tough at all. I mean, you make great stuff. Besides the roastiness, I get a little hint of licorice, and there's no wrong answer to what you taste from beer, but I get a little bit of that. I think this would pair lovely. I'm on that beer and food pairing thing. I do consulting with that as well, restaurants, and I would taste like a real nice char-grilled, awesome hamburger with this, or something on those lines to kind of bring out the roastiness too. I think this would pair really nicely with that. What do you think?
I think there's I haven't done enough pairing with this beer, unfortunately, but because it is a lot newer, and we just haven't really tested the waters so much. So I think the sky's the limit. If you like what you taste, then it's going to work. But the beer is spiced. And I'll tell you that. We don't want to get into
I got you.
detail. But if you taste it, maybe it's in there. And then we did use what I will tell you is we did use one local indigenous spice, or actually an herb. We went out and picked some local white sage out in Warner Springs area, and that took it to a whole other level. And in combination with the spices that are in there, some folks will even think, "Well, this has got a wild kind of Brett character."
Yep.
Actually, the sage in concert with those other spices, it kind of gives you that really bright floral character that actually can actually come from the Brett honey.
No, it's nice, man. Good stuff. Black jelly beanish at the end too. This is awesome, man.
You keep hitting the licorice notes. You're really good, El, because I was thinking this. I thought like some kind of herbal note. And I almost thought mint as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It just has that when you breathe in after sipping it, you're like, get that whole lift. You know what I mean?
I love your comment because, Chuck, it's so cool because, the one you did in Belgium, La Métis, it was much more of a Belgian beer with a Belgian yeast. And this really does taste like an American beer, but it's almost like the French countryman went out and picked some herbs from the fields.
Yep.
So that's the Belgian, contribution, I guess, right?
Yeah. Well, certainly. Then also we did use a different Belgian yeast instead of the Citoyen house yeast. We used a Bastogne yeast, which is the same base yeast that we use in our Rayon Vert, without the Brettanomyces. But then we put the spices in, and it gives it a more unique and say maybe certainly a Belgian influence, because the spices are definitely a very Citoyen thing to do to finesse the beer.
David, anything else you want to ask Chuck? Because I have another question.
Okay. Well, now, I kind of want to know. We were all there last year for CBC, which was in San Diego, and got to see your new brewery. And so what's changed since we were there last year?
Oh, my gosh. Well, we've continued to grow, of course. We had an empty blank space next to the cellar that was to become cellar 2, and we did the demo and concrete work for that and had the floor surface, and we were ready to receive tanks. So we've actually since received 6 250-barrel fermenters in addition to the 10 that we had, and then we added 2 500-barrel brights, which took our capacity from, say, 42 to 45, which we actually finished last year about 42, to current capacity maybe in the 65,000-barrel a year range, and then I've got 6 more 250-barrel fermenters on the way, actually, being installed in July.
Chuck, L. Sharpton's taking photos of your beer. We just popped the Green Flash Double Stout Black Ale, And I'm going to give a quick shout out. I know you guys are coming out east in April. It's April now, April 11th to 15th. There's going to be quite a few events going on in New York City, including Jimmy's number 43. Dave Adams, he's your tasting room manager out in San Diego. And it's really cool. I know he's coming to New York City. He's going to do a number of beer dinners and tasting events. He's going to do a basic beer and food pairing on April 13th at Jimmy's number 43.
Number 34.
April 13th, yeah. And I see there's a lot of things going on. So you can check out more of that at your website. I know it's greenflashbrew.com. And go to the Twitter at greenflashbeer, because that's what you guys are doing. And it's actually kind of a huge thing. You guys are really coming out to New York City with a big Green Flash weekend or something, right?
Yeah, we're coming out in force. Props, first of all, to Allie Santonze. She is our regional sales manager for setting this all up. We'll have 172 lines of beer, Green Flash pouring, including things like Flanders Drive, Sour Red, Silva Stout, and all our regulars. We'll have what are we doing? 4 or 5 days of taps all over, including in the city, but a lot in Park Slope and in Brooklyn. And I can give a few shout-outs if you want, if we got time. We'll do something at the Whole Foods on tap, George Keeley, Craftsman Ale House, Tiger, 4th Avenue Pub, The Gate, Mission Dolores, Beer Craft, Pacific Standard, Greenwood Park. I think we'll be at the Blue Point Cask Festival, of course, Jimmy's 43, Alewife, Valhalla, Spring Lounge. But definitely go on the website, check out all the details, you get the times right, and figure out where we're at.
All right. Hey, Chuck, I'll go
sorry,
for it.
hey, Chuck, real quick, give Jennifer a shout-out for me, man. She does good work for you guys.
No doubt. Thank you.
No doubt.
All right. Cool.
And get ready for Jen moving out there, Jen Schwertman.
Oh, yeah. Jen, I'm sure, will join us.
I'm sure she will.
All right. Hey, Chuck, one last thing. Did you try the Beggars and Thieves, the CBC beer?
I did. It was fantastic. Really love what the guys at Devil's Backbone are doing. I love all their lagers, and was even enjoying some IPA the last night we were there. Really tasty stuff.
All right, man. Well, thanks so much for calling in, Chuck Silva from Green Flash. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back in a few minutes on Beer Sessions Radio.
Say hi to Mike.
You're listening to This Body by Pamela Royal on the Heritage Radio Network.org.
Hey, welcome back to Beer Sessions Radio on the Heritage Radio Network. We're loving Roberta's out here in Bushwick. Got Dave Broderick from Blind Tiger Ale House. Ale Sharpton from Cruisin' for a Bruisin'.
That's it.
In Atlanta. All right. So, Ale, you're up here. You went to Craft Brewers Conference in D.C. You've been hanging out in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Tell us about the places you liked your beer in Brooklyn.
Man, I make it a point. I do a lot of traveling, and I make it a point to let people know what cool brew spots, places that really show love to craft beer. I make sure to stop by them. So I definitely stopped by a spot called Brooklyn Brew House, which is new, downtown Brooklyn. Shout out to Alan over there. And then Alan directed me over to a place called Brazen Head. Went over there and kicked it with Thumb. So shout out to Lou and John. They show me love. And then Lou and John was like, yo, you can't do this without going to the Waterfront Ale House. Went over there, kicked it with a wild dude named Jerry, who's super cool. And then 6 Point showed me love and picked me up in my hotel today. and took me around, man. And those guys were just so accommodating. And I went to 6 Point Brewery and kicked it with them for a little bit. And Mandarin Hotel, actually the first beer dinner for me, I went and worked with them on it because they usually do wine dinners, and that was incredible. So I've been hopping, but I did go to some spots in New York. And there was a spot called Blind Tiger. I'm not sure if y'all heard of it or whatever, but I heard it's pretty good. You know this guy right here?
Oh, yeah. I know that guy.
So, no, I walked in, and they were just so cool, and it was worth the trip. That was my first trip. I do my little research, and Blind Tiger just kept coming up, and I had to show love over there. I went to DBA after that. There was a spot I used to go to all the time called Vol de Nuit, which is right there in the west. It was kind of a Belgian beer bar, but kind of...
Yeah, the West Village.
Yeah, the West Village area. I went by there. It's a Belgian beer bar, and it was cool. Then I went to a place called Cooper's, which was cool, a craft ale house, which was nice.
That's the East Village, yeah.
But I had a ball there, man. You had a little roaring fire going and stuff. And,
I think that was Ian taking care of you.
Ian.
He's
what's up, Ian? No, I definitely told him everybody. I shouted everybody out. But New York is awesome. I can't wait to come back. I didn't get to do enough, but 6 Point was awesome, and you guys are awesome too.
So where did 6 Point take you?
6 Point, we just went to a place called Mother's, actually, in Brooklyn. Mother's something, which was nice. I have the card right here.
So you're kind of beer royalty now.
Man,
So you come into town and 6 Point, the guys from 6 Point, who picked you up from 6 Point? Who drove you around?
Alex. Alex picked me up.
Nobody from 6 Point has ever picked up Jimmy and I. I'll tell you that right now.
Although we made a Beer Sessions Radio beer. Their Beer for Beasts is coming up soon, and we made
they were brewing beer right on that. Heather was there, and I just love female brewers, man. It just it's awesome.
There's something about it.
It's something about them. That's it. That's all I can say. But all the guys there were doing their thing. Shout out to them, and they just showed me love. Andrew connected everything. Then my boy from Atlanta called up 6 Points, like, "Yo, Ale Sharpton's in town," and then they said, "Say no more." I kicked it with the president when he was down there, Shane, and I took him out, and it's been crazy. I love being an ambassador for Atlanta, but when I'm out of town, people show me love like that. It's super cool.
Yeah.
All right, so going back to Atlanta, what beer did you just pour for us? Because this is really good.
So I always bring a beer from Atlanta, no matter what it is. I make sure it's something special. Sometimes I bring like a Sweetwater Happy Ending or something from Terrapin. I brought the Hopzilla of Terrapin to Thailand when I was doing some artwork over there and articles over there. So people are like, what the hell is this? Hopzilla? They never had anything like that because a lot of them are just lager heavy and stuff like that. So I bring also... I think, I'm not a big brown ale fan, but Ode to Mercy is my shiznit. I try to let a lot of people try it. And then I did a little special thing. I hooked up with Nick, who is also one of the co-founders.
What's shiznik?
Shiznit. The shit. I was trying to be politically correct over here, but no, it's very damn good. And when you all taste this, you're really going to get a lot of different flavors out of it. I really like to hear what you guys have to say. But right now, you guys are trying to eschaton. And do we have Eric on? Is Eric on yet?
Errol, I'm here, man.
Oh, what's up, homie? Yo, this is crazy.
How's it going, dude?
Yo, man, I got the Olsen Brothers drinking your joint. That was a surprise I had for you. I brought it to their party, and they were bugging. They said, well, we're going to try it later on, so we'll see what happens. Because on Beer Advocate, they were like... Yeah, they were like, they said, send us some beer, when they don't have their picture for their tasting. So I was like, F that. I'll bring it personally and brought it to them, man, because it's all love of beer, man. So right now we're in Brooklyn sipping the Ode to Mercy and Eschaton, dude. That's how we do out here.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Bringing some good Southern beer up north. That's great.
It, baby. That's it. And tell them about Trapeze, man.
Yeah, so my on top of being brewmaster for Wild Heaven, I own a craft beer bar in Athens that's called Trapeze. We actually launched that into a dollar shooters in Yellow Beer Town, and every beer geek guaranteed us we were going to fail, and they were writing our eulogy about a month into our tenure, and 6 years later we're one of the biggest craft accounts in Georgia, and we run, I guess, about 50 beers on tap. We have about 400 bottles, and our rule is that if I can buy it at a gas station on the way to Trapeze, we'll never carry it, and we never have. And so we've kind of been the pioneers. I mean, that's the home of University of Georgia, and so we've been the beacons of craft in that market. And then and so I'm trying to trying to get off the sidelines and onto the field with
Hey, Eric, jumping in. So, I'm Jimmy. I'm the host, and I'm here with Dave, and he's got a good beer bar in New York City. So I'm tasting right now the Wild Heaven Ode to Mercy Imperial Brown Ale. Now, there's some really great flavors in here. It's jumping out at me. Tell me a little bit about the Ode to Mercy Imperial Brown Ale, because I'm really liking it.
Okay, so that beer, the brown ale is one of those ubiquitous styles that, I think, I've got a lot of brown ales I love, and some of them that are quite boring. But what I wanted to do with that was, it's kind of reinvent a classic British style, and it's actually brewed with a lot of Belgian aromatic malts. And then what I also did was, those are all U.S. hops in that beer, and then it's aged on French oak, and then it has cold infused coffee in it. And the first few test batches, the beer was pretty jagged from a flavor standpoint, just a lot of aggressive stuff we were trying to get to play well. And so I've actually added a little bit of lactose to it, so it's kind of like a brown cow, if you will, just to add some creaminess back in among like the big, piney West Coast hops. And it's a heavy dose French oak, and then cold infused coffee. So it's about 8.5% alcohol, and it's hopefully it's something that's drinkable, but really nuanced and complex.
It's nice because the coffee, it's like you taste it, but it's not like in your face. I like that.
Yeah, I love balanced beers. There's nothing that Wild Heaven makes that's that's claiming to be the most alcoholic or the hoppiest or whatever. I think there's a bit of art in making something that is a great food beer and has like I said, good balance and complexity. That was
Eric on the on that label. There's a guy sitting there playing a guitar. Is that you?
Yeah, well, I'm nowhere near as old as that guy, but yeah, the artist, it's a local artist that does oil and canvas for every one of our labels, and I've been a lifelong musician. He actually painted a picture of me years ago that was like remarkably similar to that one, and kind of recreated it, for that label. But yeah, it's not too far off the mark, actually.
What's his name?
Adam Houston.
Yeah, you got to drop him. You know what I'm saying? So,
I just want to say that's what I love. It's very personal, and I just had a feeling that was you playing guitar. But tell me one thing about the.
It kind of was meant to be me. It was, yeah.
No, and that's beautiful, and that's cool. But tell me a couple of things about the Georgia beer scene from your perspective. Like, we're up here in New York. We have listeners in England and Michigan and California. What's going on in Georgia in craft beer?
Well, I'll tell you, when we opened Wild Heaven, I want to say we were either the fourth or the fifth brewery in Georgia, and that was 2.5 years ago. And now there are 17 that are in different stages of opening, and there's another 15 behind those guys. I mean,
That's crazy.
It's growing exponentially. Despite being a really, Georgia's not a terribly open state to alcohol. The South has got, of course, like a pretty perverse relationship with alcohol. But despite all that, the market for craft is it's exceeding anyone's expectations.
Yo, you getting ready for Classic City?
Yeah, man.
That's this weekend. It's ridiculous.
Made a cask of a saison with was Asian Chardonnay barrels for that. So, are you gonna be down for that?
Yeah, I'll be up. It's on my website right now, Sharpton.com or cruisingforboozing.com. And we had the Eschaton we just poured too. Can you give a quick breakdown on that?
Yeah, that is the as far as I know, that's the only Belgian style quadruple that is 100% barley. So no refined sugars in that, which is kind of the way that the style's been made, and for forever. And then it's aged on Pinot Noir oak. So it's about 10.5%. That is it's also got just all those plum, raisin, date, cherries, all those dark dried fruit flavors. Mm-hmm. But I've often said I think that the highest calling and value of wine is to condition barrels for beer, and that's what we like to use them for. But I think the marriage of wine and beer is something.
It's a beautiful
amazing.
marriage. I went raw, brother. I came with no label on that bottle. Just went and was like, "Bow, let's get it popping," you know.
Did it get?
Well,
there
are no bottles of Eschaton that have ever existed. You literally have some of the few that exist in the world. We've only ever put that in draft, and then to a few of our dear friends like Ale Sharpton.
So, are you only in Georgia at this point, or have you expanded beyond your home state?
We're only in Georgia. We just have not been able to make enough beer to get out of state yet.
So how much are you making right now?
We're around 1,400 barrels a year. We're in the process of a major expansion, which should allow us to grow to about 8,000 barrels, and over the span of maybe 3 years. So we're hoping to creep north at that point. But right now we did leak some beer into Alabama and then pulled out of that state just because we've been out of stock in Georgia.
Well, Eric, you know what you're talking about, something beautiful is that all these states have these great local breweries. And Ale, tell us one more time. There's a fest coming up in Georgia that
Classic
you're promoting.
City Beer Fest. It's in Athens, and I've never went. And this is their 18th year. I've either out of town or out of the country, so my bad. I'm missing all of them. But I'm looking excited to this one. I saw the beer list, which again is on my website. And Owen Ogletree, man, shout out to him and the work he's done. He's amazing. The beer world knows Owen, and I'm going to be driving up there. It's about a 45-minute drive, and I will be having a designated driver because I'm about to get it in up there. And I've never been to Trapeze, so I got to see what's up with you. You do anything crazy at Trapeze?
Well, we're going to have maybe 6 or 8 different cask ales, and then all the local stuff on tap, plus a bunch of really, really crazy rare stuff. So,
cool.
Yeah, that festival is one of the best in the U.S. It's probably 300 beers and 20 cask ales, all from local breweries.
Tell us the name of the fest one more time.
Classic City, baby.
I like that. All right. And Dave, last thing, Dave Broderick, you've toured the country a few times and checked out breweries. Have you ever been to Georgia?
I did go through Georgia, but I was on the coast. And so, it sounds like all the good stuff's happening inland. And I stopped at, what's the place in Savannah? It's
Moon River?
Yeah, Moon River.
Yeah, Moon River.
Yeah. I stopped in there, but that was 5 years ago, and there wasn't as much happening down there as there is now. So
John is at
looking forward to it.
You got my number? Hit me up, dude. I'll give you the red carpet treatment. You know how I do, Eric, in Atlanta. Tell them how I get down, Eric.
What's that?
Tell them how I get down in Atlanta. You know I get it in Atlanta, right?
Oh yeah, man, no doubt.
I guess you know what? I think in the next few months we're all going down to Georgia.
Oh, dude,
hanging out with Ale Sharpton and everybody.
I got
all right.
you.
So now we got to take care of serious business. So I'd like to thank our sponsors at GreatBrewers.com who have helped to bring this podcast to you tonight. Beer Sessions Radio is supported by the Good Beer Seal. Thanks to everyone, Dave, Ale, and Chuck. And Eric, thanks for calling in, for joining me here on the Heritage Radio Network. I'm Jimmy Carboni. Thanks to our producers, Jack Inslee, Brie O'Connor, and our engineer, Joe Galarraga. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Beer Sessions Radio.
Holla.
Thanks for listening to this program on heritageradionetwork.org. You can find all of our archived programs on our website or as podcasts in the iTunes Store by searching Heritage Radio Network. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at @heritage_radio. You can email us questions at any time at info@heritageradionetwork.org. Heritage Radio Network is a non-profit organization. To donate and become a member, visit our website today. Thanks for listening.